Good afternoon and welcome to Probate Court 2. We're here today on the estate of Luann Wallace, and it's a request for independent administration after a determination of heirship. I see a hearing letter, but it does not show who all I should be expecting in the waiting room. So, and it says Paul Bailey. Are you?
I am Paul Bailey.
Okay, so I was looking for a DG Majors. Is that not correct?
Yeah, he's another attorney with this firm, but I'm handling the hearing today.
Okay. Are the witnesses in your office?
They are our applicant and two witnesses.
Okay, I'm going to ask you next time to let us know where the witnesses will be and who's handling the hearing as well, because that's who I'm looking for in our waiting room. We do a big Zoom docket and then we let people in as each case is called.
Okay.
Is there a notary in your?
You have a notary here as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask to see the witnesses.
Okay. We all come stand back here so you can be sworn in. Let me get the chair out of the way. We have our applicant, Melissa O'Clott, and we have two witnesses. We have Angie Denton and Gilma Morin, our two witnesses.
Well, welcome to Probate Court 2. Ms. Baird is with us. She's our heirship ad litem. I will remind you all we are live streaming on YouTube. So while I need you to meet your burden under Texas law, if you would please not get into specifics for the privacy of the witnesses, Mr. Bailey's client and our decedent. Ladies, if y'all will please raise your right hand. And the notary that's in the room with you is going to ask you if you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes. Say it.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay. Well, no, Mr. Bailey, I need the notary to ask them that.
Okay, go ahead. Did he ask them?
Swear to tell the whole truth. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Ms. Bailey, you can call, hello. You can call your first witness.
Okay. That will be our applicant. Y'all sit down, and Ms. O'Clott, just sit down right here. We're a bit late on this, Your Honor, because our witnesses and our applicant were stuck in Arlington until just a few minutes ago on track. So we hadn't had much time to go through this if we wanted to, but Ms. O'Clott, you are Melissa O'Clott for the record, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you're familiar with the affairs of the late Luann Wallace, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, she was in fact your mother. Is that
Yes,
true?
she is one.
Okay. Now, is it true that your mother passed away November 4th of 2017?
Yes.
And did she die in Arlington, Tarrant County?
Yes.
Okay. At that time, was she 71 years of age?
Yes, she was.
And is it true that less than 4 years have elapsed since she passed away?
That is correct.
Okay. At the time your mother died, did she have a permanent residence in Tarrant County?
Yes.
That's where she lived. Okay. As far as you know, she died without a will. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, necessity exists for administration in this estate, and we have, well, for a couple of reasons. We have a claim for personal injuries that needs to be prosecuted, and the estate helps with that. Plus, there are some assets whose title we need to have transferred. There's a house to do with, for example, a few other items. Okay. Now, as the applicant, you yourself are not disqualified from serving as executor in that you are over the age of 18. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
You have never been adjudicated to be incapacitated. Is that correct?
No.
You have never, you are a resident of the state of Texas?
Yes.
And you have never been convicted of a felony crime?
No.
Or any misdemeanor crime involving moral turpitude?
No.
Okay. Let's get into the information about the family history of your mother. Now, is it true she was married 2 times?
Yes.
And just those 2 times. She married Thomas Preston Capers, December 27th of 66.
Correct.
That was, and then that marriage ended in a divorce in Tarrant County back in 1971. Is that true? And there were 2 children born to this marriage. Is that correct?
Yes.
You and your brother Thomas Derrick Capers.
Yes.
Is that true? All right. There never were any more children born to this marriage, and none adopted by that marriage. Okay.
No.
After that marriage, your mother in 1972 married a Don Lynn Wallace. Is that correct?
Yes.
In Dallas, and that marriage And the only one your mother passed away, is that true?
Correct, yes,
Okay, now, that marriage produced one child, Marty Wallace, is that
Yes.
true?
that is true,
And they had no other children, adopted no other children, is that
No.
correct?
correct,
And is it true your mother was never married to anybody else?
No.
That was it,
that was it.
okay. Again, now, just to mention again, there were just the three children, you, your brother Thomas, and Marty, the only three children of your mother. And your mother does, or your father, or excuse me, your stepfather,
Don,
Don Lynn Wallace, does survive. Is that true?
yes.
Okay. All right, and all of the children, all three children with the name, they all survived and they are all over the age of 18. Is that correct?
Correct,
And I believe, Your Honor, I will point out that all distributaries have filed a consent and waiver, including a consent to the waiver of bond. And with that, I'll pass this witness.
Okay, Ms. Baird?
I'm sorry.
Hi, Melissa. Do you remember talking to me on the phone a few months ago?
Yes, ma'am.
And we had a long conversation about your mom and her marital history and the children that she had throughout her lifetime. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that any of the information you gave me since then has changed, or have you learned any new information that you think would change any of the topics that we discussed during that phone call?
I have not, no. Everything's the same as I told you.
Okay, so just to clarify, I know it seems repetitive, but you think that you would have known if your mother to you or spoken about it in some way?
Ms. Baird, you cut out. I think, at least I only heard
Yeah, I didn't hear it all.
first and last part of that sentence.
I am trying to get closer to our Wi-Fi receiver. I am sorry. Let me repeat. Do you think that you would have known if your mother had given any children up for adoption throughout her life?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
She would have talked about that with you.
Oh,
is
yeah.
that
Uh-huh.
okay? And so, to the best of your knowledge, the only natural children that your mother ever gave birth to were you and your brother Thomas Derrick and your brother Marty. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you don't have any knowledge that she ever adopted any other children. Is that right?
I do not have any knowledge of that.
And I do remember that we did talk about there was one child that your mom brought into the home for a small while, and kind of a cousin of yours, Michael. Is that
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
And she did kind of keep him in the home for a while and raise him. Is that right?
Just for, I think it was like a year or two. I can't remember. It was
Okay.
a long time ago.
And to the best of your knowledge, Michael wouldn't consider himself a child of your mother. Is that
Oh, no,
right?
no.
Okay, and he would never
Hasn't
consider that your mom adopted him.
No, he hasn't.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Very good. Pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Bailey, do you have anything else for this witness?
Not for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay, I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Is it Aucklet?
Oakland.
Okay. Did your mother ever talk about having a will?
My mother never had a will. She did not.
Okay, and what do you base that on?
She told me.
Okay.
I would ask her, do you have a will? And she would, no, we're going to do that. And they never did it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have you had a chance to look at the proposed order?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, this document right here.
If you'll take a look at page 2 of the proposed order
Okay.
and the addresses that are listed for everyone, I don't want you to say those out loud because we are live streaming,
Okay.
but are those addresses all correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and the names of everyone, those full names are correct too, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any follow-up from anybody?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you can call your next witness, Mr. Bailey.
Okay, yeah, just have a seat right there.
Okay.
And then, Ms. Denton, come on over and have a seat so that you guys can see you. You are Angie Denton, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Full name is Angela, but we have you down now approved as Angie.
Yes.
Yes, and I have a name incorrect, and I'm correcting it right now. was not sufficient proofreading. Anyway, you are familiar with the affairs of the late Luann Wallace, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You knew the family for a number of years?
Many, many years.
How many?
Oh, 20 plus.
20 plus years? All right. Were you present here in this conference room when I asked some questions of Ms. O'Clott?
Yes,
You hear those questions and her answers?
yes,
If I ask you those questions, do you give the same answer?
yes,
In particular, let's go into the marital history of Luann Wallace. Now we have it, Ms. O'Clott has testified that she was married 2 times, that Ms. Wallace was married 2 times to Thomas Preston Capers, which ended in a divorce in Tarrant County,
yes,
and of which there were 2 children born to that marriage, Melissa and her brother Thomas. Is that correct?
yes,
That's your understanding as well.
of course, yes,
Independent understanding, okay. That marriage ended in divorce. She then married Don Lynn Wallace. And that marriage ended only when Miss Wallace passed away. And they had 1 child, Marty Wallace. Is that true?
yes,
As far as you know, those then are the 3 children of Luann Wallace. You never had or adopted any more children. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Are you, and you are an independent witness in that you do not claim to be a heir of the estate or have any claim against the estate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Ms. Baird?
Okay, Angie, hi, it's nice to see you in person. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very good. Okay, you remember we also talked on the phone some ago.
Huh?
And would you believe that you have learned any new information about Luann and her family or marital history since we spoke on the phone?
No, everything's the same.
Very good. And so do you have any reason to believe that there would be any additional heirs to Luann's estate that we have not discussed during this hearing so far?
No, not that I know of. Nope,
Do you believe that if she had ever given a child up for adoption throughout her life, is that something she would have spoken with you about?
absolutely.
And she never talked to you about adoption?
No,
And she never talked to you about adopting any children, is that right?
that's right.
Okay, thank you. That's all of my questions. Pass the witness.
Mr. Bailey, you can call your next witness.
Okay. Ms. Moore, will you come over here and have a seat? Okay. Yeah, just get comfortable. You are Gilma Morton, is that correct?
Yes,
And you knew the late Luann Wallace, is that true?
yes.
How long did you say?
About 7 years, maybe,
Okay.
maybe a little more,
Do
something like
you,
that.
or 7 or more?
Yeah.
Do you think you knew her well enough to be familiar with her family history,
Yes,
both from direct knowledge and speaking and knowing her family members?
yes,
Okay. Were you present here in this conference room when I asked some questions to Ms. O'Clott and Ms. Denton,
yes,
and you heard the answers?
yes,
You disagree with anything they said?
no,
Let's look again at the little information about specifically about Ms. Wallace's family history. Testimony so far is that she was married 2 times, to a Thomas Preston Capers, which ended in divorce, and then to a Don Lynn Wallace, which ended only when Miss Wallace passed away. Is that your understanding of her marital history,
yes,
and that she was never married to anybody else?
no,
Okay, now we have, again, the testimony is that Ms. Wallace and Mr. Capers had 2 children, Melissa and Thomas, and that Ms. Wallace and Don Lynn Wallace had 1 child, Marty Wallace. Is that your understanding
Yes.
of their family history?
yes,
As far as you know, they never had or adopted any more children. Is that
No.
true?
Yeah.
And you are an independent witness in that you claim no interest in the estate. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay, Your Honor, I'm going to pass the witness.
Ms. Baird?
Okay, Miss Moore, it's nice to meet you as well. Do you remember speaking with me on the phone?
yes.
Very good. And have any of your answers changed, or do you think you've learned any new information about Luann since we spoke?
No,
And do you think that if Luann had
Ms.
given
Baird,
a
you're-
baby up for adoption at some point in her life or adopt, you think she would have spoken?
Okay, Ms. Baird, you
If
froze.
Mrs. Walt, okay, give me a sec.
You're back.
Yes.
If Mrs. Wallace had given up a baby or adopted a baby in adoption, do you think that she would have spoken about that with you?
Yes.
And were you in Mrs. Wallace's home quite a bit
Yes.
around her? And do you think did she ever talk about executing a will or drafting a will or with you?
No.
And do you think that you would have seen a will or any estate planning documents laying around the house maybe if they had existed?
Yeah.
And you've never seen anything like that in a file cabinet or a desk, anything like that, right? Okay, thank you very much. Pass the witness.
Okay. And you shook your head no, you have not seen that, is that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Bailey, if you'll ask Ms. Aklat to please come back. And Ms. Baird, do you agree with the heirship determination and the proposed order?
I do, Your Honor, yes.
Is there any reason you should continue?
No, not that I'm aware of.
All right, I will find that Luann Wallace was a resident of Tarrant County when she passed away, and that you have proved up her heirs to be her surviving spouse and 3 children. And I will find, Ms. Aklat, I'll find you a proper person to serve as independent administrator. If you'll please raise your right hand one more time. Do you, Melissa Aklat, solemnly swear that Luann Wallace died without a will and that her heirs are her spouse and 3 children, and that you will well and truly perform all the duties of independent administrator of her estate?
I do.
All right, thank you. I'm going to send the order to Mr. Bailey along with some information talking about being an independent executor. You are the same thing with a little bit different name. That's going to tell you your rights and obligations, but it doesn't substitute for your attorneys, and I trust you'll continue to work with them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank y'all all for being here today, and I hope you have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.